Ram's been asking about the form, the nature, the location of the jiva. This is the individual identity. And he's been asking about its relation to the Supreme Self. I suppose in terms of the usual analogy of the ocean and the wave, it's asking how a wave comes to be, or how the wave comes to regard itself as separate, how the wave comes to regard itself as separate from the ocean. We are like waves of consciousness, and yet we regard ourselves as separate from the ocean of consciousness. And Vasishta started talking about this notion of the cosmic person, the Virat, which possibly isn't a notion that most of us can relate to these days. It stems from the ancient sense of identity with the physical world. The world itself is a person, and there's an essential identity between that person and us as individuals. And here we get a description of him. His head is the highest of all. His feet are the netherworld. Space is his belly. All the worlds his sides. Water his blood. The mountains and the earth are his flesh. The rivers are his blood vessels. The directions are his arms. The stars are his hairs. The cosmic winds are his prana. His life spark is the lunar sphere, and his mind is the aggregate of all notions. His self is the Supreme Self. If we weren't caught up in our notions, if we weren't caught up in our diversions, our entertainments, our concerns, if we were living an outdoor life, this would be what we relate to. We'd be relating to the natural elements as our ancestors did. There'd be a sense of intimacy, if not identity, with our natural environment, which is something we've clearly lost by and large. So there's the natural environment, not only its physical manifestations, but also there's a sense of intelligence behind it. There is order in the natural environment. You might believe that order just came about by chance, or you might believe there's a creator behind it all. But whatever you believe, there's clearly an intelligence at work. There's an intelligence in the physical universe which dwarfs our own. This is quite clear from the fact that we don't understand it. Physicists are forever probing the mystery of it. It's probably very unlikely that they will ever understand it, because it's always going to be more intelligent than we are, since we arose within it. So the cosmic person isn't just a physical entity. His self is the Supreme Self, which is the same for all of us. So this cosmic person is no different from us. This is our ancient identity. From this cosmic person, or jiva, other jivas arise and are distributed throughout the three worlds. Brahma, Vishnu, Rudra and others are its mental creations. The manifestations of its thought forms are the gods and the demons and the celestials. That's the three worlds. The jiva arose from consciousness, and that is its location. So Rama asked about the location of the jiva. Its location is in consciousness. Thousands of such Virat have arisen and will arise in the future. I think for thousands here we can understand countless. The text is being surprisingly conservative here. Vasishta continued, the cosmic person is himself of the nature of a notion or concept, thought, etc. Whatever notion is entertained by him appears to be embodied in the five elements in the cosmic space. Again, we mustn't understand this as somehow thoughts being made physical. We believe our notions to be physical. This is the whole idea. Physicality is itself a notion. And we totally believe in the reality of our notions of physicality. So in this sense, whatever notion is entertained by us appears to be embodied in the five elements in the cosmic space, or we can understand it as the physical or the chemical elements, if we like. Hence, O Ram, whatever appears to have been created is regarded by the wise as the expansion of notions. The cosmic person is the original cause for all this world appearance. The effect is of the same nature as the cause. The effect is of the same nature as the cause, meaning they're non-different from each other. So the cosmic person is non-different from the world appearance. The cosmic person, which is essentially us, our non-conceptual self, or the self which gives rise to concepts, is non-different from the actual concepts it gives rise to. However, all this takes place in consciousness, not in unconsciousness. All these diverse creatures, from a worm to the god Rudra, have arisen from the original notion, just as a mighty tree grows out of a small seed. Notions give rise to notions. There's a momentum there, a swirling of notions. Though the universe has thus expanded from a minute subatom, the expansion or evolution is rooted in intelligence, not inertia. So I suppose this subatom, this minute subatom, is a notion of physicality. The point that's being made here is it's all rooted in intelligence. There is no aspect of the universe which is not intelligent. Inertia simply means what is inert, what has the property of being inert. There can be no part of the universe which is not an aspect of the intelligence which gave rise to it. Just as the cosmic person has come to be manifest as this cosmos, even so have all things come into being, right down to the minutest atom. But in truth there is nothing large nor minute. Whatever notion arises in the self is experienced as if it were real. Well, I'll carry on with this in the next video.